Okay. Wednesday edition of the After Show. Got Wink and Justice with you. Wink over here on the East Coast.
And Justice on the West Coast of the contiguous United States of America. It is Wednesday's child is full of whoa. Wednesdays. I gotta tell you, it's whoa almost every day. Wink. Whoa. But before we get into that, how are you doing?
Not bad. It is 77 degrees, going up to about 79, 80 today, and mostly, it's partly sunny, partly cloudy. Kind of one of those July day. Not bad, not a bad day out there. About what we get for July. What do we got? Reminder to get in the chat. Just go to netrootsradio.com, scroll down the bottom of the page, and on the right-hand side of the bottom of the page, there is a link to the chat. So click that, join us there.
And I know it sounds like a broken record if you've been listening for a while, but the donate contribute buttons are to the left of the chat room link. Leftish of the chat room link. Because there's really no absolutes in the universe. We try to impose absolutes, but wink, there are really no absolutes.
Yeah.
But thank you for your generosity. I don't know. I was never into, I said before, busking, playing music out on the, with my guitar case open. I could do that when I was in a dive bar, open up the guitar case, let people throw in their dollars or more. And, but out on the street, I couldn't do that. So I almost feel like we're busking sometimes when we ask for funds, but it pays the bills.
Yeah.
Because, we're not out on the street.
Right.
Well. And thank you truly for your generosity on that. I should mention that After Show podcast can be had after the show. The raw data file comes up first, and that is by way of Spreaker, and Wink will post that and let people know. And then later, the perfected daily file, the PDF, will be made available by way of Podbean, iTunes, TuneIn, and wherever fine podcasts can be found.
Heck yeah.
Okay, here along the banks of the Rogue River in the Rogue River Valley of Southern Oregon, it is currently 67 degrees, going to a high of 97 degrees, 0% possibility of precipitation. Now, how dare they? How dare they? Because at the same time, we do have a fire weather warning, and why is that? Because there are possibilities of thunderstorms and lightning strikes in the area. Yikes! And there's a lot of dry fuel out there. There are some wetting rains. Now, unfortunately, where I'm at, we will be outside the range of the wetting rains today. Though, tomorrow, the wetting rains will be here, 20% possibility, which means that we'll have something, like it'll drop and then dry really quick. But like we've had before. Winds currently are, they will be west to northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. They are light and variable right now. And then, of course, later on this afternoon, out of the northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Pressure is at 29.92 inches, and I believe that's rising. Visibility is 10 miles. Okay, not too bad. Humidity, 65%. Wait, 65. That's a little humid. What is 80? Now, we're sending Roaring Girl, and who else is going with Roaring Girl to Netroots Nation in Atlanta?
Ricky from
Ricky, the Kanekistan, of course. Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that should be challenging.
Roaring Girl knows about humidity. Okay, she knows about humidity. I don't know if they have that in Newfoundland or.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, she's Nova Scotia. Where is
PE? What is it? It's
Prince
Northland.
Edward Island.
She's exactly.
Prince Edward Island. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't think they get the humidity up there that they have in Atlanta.
No, probably not. No.
Yeah, it's like 98% humidity, and it's not raining.
Right.
That's rough. Okay.
Not up there.
All right. Weather from around the world. Weather from around the world is brought to you by people's personal weather stations from around the world. London is 68 degrees and light rain. Paris is 71 degrees and overcast. Rome is 80 and clear, though they are in a high wind advisory today. Kiev is 82 and mostly cloudy. Kabul is 94 and partly cloudy. Hong Kong, 80 and clear. Tokyo is 76 and overcast. Sydney, Australia, 55 degrees and clear. You know, they're in their winter time, so, you know, that's moderate.
Not bad for winter.
If you want to spend an Australian winter in the United States, you would probably not have found a better place than San Francisco, which is currently 57 degrees and overcast.
There you go.
And New York is 77 degrees and clear. Okay, that's weather from around the world, brought to you by people's personal weather stations from around the world.
Heck yeah.
Okay, well, we're visiting with Angela Marx today. Got a lot to talk about. Boy, I don't know. McCain came all the way just to do that? What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, I as I always said, when you expect McCain to do the right thing, well, he just puts the ick right back in Maverick again.
Yeah.
He does this all the time. I hate it. Okay, well, go whatever you want. No, not you people. I'm talking about these guys over here. Okay, whatever you guys want. You people, I don't know. He didn't do anything different. We knew that's what he was going to do. You know, he's all bluster, get off my lawn, and then, you know, when push comes to shove, he puts the ick back in Maverick. So, I don't know. Do we get to keep this healthcare system? Trump today just tweeted out. I mean, he doesn't have to do anything by like signing a bill or putting something into law. He just says it. Now it is so.
Right.
No more. He's kicking all transgender people out of the military. I don't know. What's he going to do? Make them drop their pants? Personal inspection? What the hell is this guy? I keep telling you, he learned American civics in that crash course that the FSB teaches to their operatives right there in the Kremlin.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually have an actual room. It's not, you know, terribly small either. Oh, God. But I don't know. What else? Everything, Wink. Everything. In fact, these are the issues that we will be attending to today, and they are: even though the vote on the motion to proceed on the mystery health care bill. Oh, that's trademarked, by the way. Okay. You pay me the royalty. I mean, that's a joke. It's not trademarked, but it should be. The mystery health care bill. They didn't know what they were voting on, Wink.
Right.
It was the mystery health care bill. Well, that split 50-50 on the senators, but get this. The senators voting to save Obamacare represent 36 million more people than the senators voting to destroy it.
Yeah.
But look at all this red. Look at all this red on this map. That's how that works. The Trump administration moves closer to undoing the Obama-era overtime payroll. Whatever the black guy wanted, they're going to destroy. And it goes on. Because Republicans are strangely silent about Trump's Boy Scout speech. I call them his Trump Jugend. Trump Youth. Trump Jugend. But remember that time in 2009 when hundreds of thousands of conservatives kept their kids home after Obama told students to work hard and stay in school? We do. That's right. Actually, I remember that time because we joked around about, at least I did on Daily Co's. I don't know if I knew you in 2009 at that point, knew of you.
Right.
But regardless, I remember joking around like, God, I just wish that Obama would say that right wingers should like breathe fresh air and oxygen, and maybe they would like hold their breaths until they turn blue. Because the black guy said that they should breathe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, all that, and then, of course, we are going to visit with Angela Marx, also known as Angie in Washington State, and we're going to talk about that healthcare bill and a lot more. Plus the Connect, Unite, Act Daily Coast community calendar on the after show with that ever so fine fellow over there on the East Coast. His name is Wink, and this guy over here on the West Coast, my name is Justice. And we do this 5 days a week for an hour-ish in this particular specific and ever-increasingly peculiar tear of the fabric of space-time. Because who loves you, baby? Okay. Sessions is in or Sessions is out. I don't know. He's moving on. He's what the hell is going on with this government? Now think about this, Wade. Patriotic transgenders have no place in the military, but they got a Hungarian Nazi right there in the Oval Office right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of guys with good hair on the Republican side. Yeah. Maybe when this is all done with, we can like shear them and then parade them through the streets. Just so people will know like who the collaborators were. I don't know. Is that the only thing that they'll understand? Because being nice doesn't seem to be working. Unbelievable. Well, history will hold them in contempt. Oh, this is the other. Trump was out there giving some speech somewhere. I don't know, Ohio or somewhere. Said that he is the most presidential. He's more presidential than any president except for maybe what I say, the Lincoln Town Car. I think the Lincoln Town Car might be a bit more presidential than Trump. But he gave it to President Lincoln. Okay. But I think he was thinking about the Lincoln Town Car. Now, that's a presidential looking car. I got to tell you. What is this guy? I mean, Obama couldn't get too mad. He couldn't get too relaxed. He couldn't get anything. It was always like, what's this black guy, this lazy black guy, this uppity black guy? This black guy knows everything. Yeah, he's ramming his indoctrination down our throats. And here we have an actual, I don't know, demagogue who goes up in front of a bunch of people and says that they are the most presidential. That's an obviously, people who come from the rational side of thinking would look at that as narcissistic behavior is endemic of a very insecure individual. Like the kinds of insecure individuals that ride really loud motorcycles in the morning.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, just, I'm sure you can still hear it. He's like half a mile away already.
Yeah.
So, a third of the people liked it. And apparently a third of those, that third controls all the rest of us, apparently. Because that's how democracy works. Yep. Okay. Mystery healthcare bill. What was in it? We still don't know, do we? Or did you see any resolution of that? Did we finally find out what they voted for?
I haven't seen any.
Okay. This is by Ian Millhiser, Justice Editor. If he was a Justice Editor, he would be in contact with me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
I think he's like the law editor. I mean, come on.
Right.
I got to get a hold of him and let him know. I mean, terms of use, buddy. Terms of use.
Right.
Tuesday afternoon, senators split 50-50 on a motion to proceed to debate an as-yet undetermined plan to strip healthcare coverage from an unknown number of Americans. I don't know. If this was a movie, I mean, this is what the Russians would be doing to destroy us, Wink. Sow discord, take away health care, get rid of national monuments, get rid of EPA standards.
Yeah.
It sounds like we're kind of being attacked.
Pretty much, yep.
Today's vote, let's see. I'm sorry, this was from yesterday. Okay, the vote yesterday was only a preliminary motion, but had the nays prevailed, it would have effectively halted Trump care. Every Democratic senator voted against the motion, as did Republicans Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. John McCain, what did you do? We got to act like senators. Okay, give them what they want. Yet, while the number of senators opposing the motion was equal to the number supporting it, nothing even resembling the will of the people was carried out in the Senate on Tuesday. That's because the 50 senators who opposed the motion represent over 36 million more people than the 50 senators who voted against it. Senators who voted to advance the mystery health bill represent only 143,064,962 individuals, while senators opposing the motion represent 179. Look, I'm rounding. 143,000 to 180 million people. Okay, 143 million to 180 million people. Now, how did they come up with these numbers? Here at Think Progress that Ian Millhiser is writing out of. Well, they calculated numbers using the 2016 U.S. Census estimates. Numbers. Oh, yeah. Still pushing that motion to defund the CBO. Kill the messenger. In states where both senators supported the motion, Think Progress allocated the entire state's population to the for column. Likewise, in states where both senators opposed it, they allocated their state's entire population to the against column. And in states where the two senators split their votes, Think Progress allocated half of the state's population to for and half to against. And there is a link in the article in which you can check their work. As opposed to what senators had to vote on yesterday. Now, did they vote? See, this is what I want to know. Did they vote to give plenary absolute power to this supposed president of the United States, thereby making him a dictator? Some little amendment in there? I mean, that can be done and has been before. Yeah, albeit a mistake. But what would stop this group of, I don't know what to call them. Are they traitors? What are they? What would stop them from getting senators, to vote on a bill? Because they can put anything in it. And they have before. Even in bills where people knew what they were voting on. Because whoever reads the bill. I don't know. The interns working in this White House look pretty white to me. Right out of Liberty University. And I don't think they got a strong civics class unless it's to deconstruct the administrative state.
Yeah, pretty much.
The result is possible because the Senate is malapportioned to treat voters from some states as more important than voters from other states. All animals are equal in the barnyard, except some animals are more equal than others. We've known that since junior high, when we actually had literature to read. California's almost 40 million residents receive exactly the same number of senators as Wyoming's 585,000. Meaning that a Wyoming voter has 67 times as much representation as one from California. Okay. Both California senators opposed Trump care. Both Wyoming senators voted to advance Trump care. All right. And I got to tell you, even though they have, the people and, like where I live, in these lightly populated areas, they are so put upon. They are so disrespected, Wink. How dare we question their motives? Because they don't even know what motive means. No, I'm serious. We have to treat them, with respect, Wink, because we've been shaming them as they freely use the N-word, as they freely talk about, like where I'm at. I mean, I'm serious. People are on public forums talking about, well, yeah, if you see somebody with a California tattoo, shoot them. I'm a California tattoo. What the hell are you talking about? California tattoo. I don't know. I don't know. Sounds a little prejudging to me. But, don't shame them. We just treat them with respect because they apparently hold all the power. Their insight into our political process, their deep understanding of the spiritual divide between the material and the temporal. Yeah, we got to listen to them. All right. Now, that's not to say that the salt of the earth should just be ignored. My idea of the salt of the earth is that they were the salt of the earth and they had a little bit of cayenne and, I don't know, have an avocado toast. It's just an avocado on toast. I mean, come on. Okay. Obama wanted overtime? Nobody wants overtime. This is an article out of Reuters by Daniel Weisner out of Albany, New York. The Trump administration yesterday pushed forward with its bid to undo an Obama administration rule to extend mandatory overtime pay to 4.2 million people or workers. And it said it was considering treating workers differently based on location and industry. You work in this, you don't get any money. You work over here, maybe you get a little bit more. 2 cents an hour more. Come on. That's nice. The rule, which was supposed to take effect in December of 2016, but was blocked by a federal judge, is a top target for business groups that say it would force employers to convert many salaried employees into hourly workers. You're not an employee, you're an associate. And salaried employees, you signed a contract that you would occasionally be required to work 55-hour weeks, occasionally. And then what they don't tell you is your regular schedule is 90-hour weeks.
Right.
And every now and then you might only have to work 55.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, yikes. Workers' rights groups criticized the Trump administration for moving to change the rule, with some noting that the Obama administration reviewed 300,000 comments before setting the salary threshold at $47,000. And Trump wants to put it at 23,000. Nice. Yep. You're salaried when you're making 47, but no. Come on, there's a lot of burger flippers that if we paid them like overtime, can you imagine? How am I going to be able to afford my giant Papa John's mansion?
Right.
All right. It's almost like we're under attack, Wink. It's like they're dismantling every single thing. And is it to, weaken us, soften us up? Or is it to sow discord so we're at each other's throats and the next thing you know? Yep. Those old dinosaur movies, with the cavemen, and you'd have the, I don't know, like the Stegosaurus battling the Velociraptor, and then suddenly the big T-Rex would take them both out. There's that. Maybe not the velociraptor. Maybe it's something bigger than the T-Rex, because the Stegosaurus and T-Rex were always at battle with each other. But usually it was like the Stegosaurus and the human, the cave person, was at odds, and then the T-Rex came in, or vice versa. They were battling the T-Rex, and the Stegosaurus came in and took on the T-Rex. Like Putin. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. This next article is Tim Marson out of Newsweek. Donald Trump addressed a massive gathering of Boy Scouts Monday and made it all about himself. A massive breach of customs while pushing for his political agenda. Republicans were mostly silent on the issue, a curious development considering the GOP slammed former President Barack Obama for telling kids to work hard and persevere in a 2009 back-to-school speech. Yeah, that was considered indoctrination, Wink.
Heck yeah.
Jesus Christ. Work hard and stay in school. I mean, God, what every single 50s movie, propaganda movie that came out was that theme. Work hard and stay in school.
Yep.
Right? But when the black guy says it, it's suddenly like, no, we have to, it's not our country anymore. We got to split the baby in two and let the whole thing die. Because if I can't have what I want when I want it and when I say it, if a black guy is saying the same thing I'm saying, I don't want that anymore. Jesus. Well, the left was quick to criticize the president for using the Boy Scouts as a political tool. For their part, the group stressed after the speech that the Boy Scouts, that they don't endorse any position, product, service, political candidate, or philosophy. With some liberals even saying that Trump made the event look like a Hitler Youth rally. But the right was relatively silent.
Yeah.
But as Matt Gertz of the left-wing group Media Matters for America pointed out on Twitter, the right-wing media and conservative figures were happy to jump all over Obama for his 2009 back-to-school speech that was optional for students and promoted ideas of such importance as staying in school and listening to your teachers. But, I am in a geographical area where the idea of public school is the worst sin that could ever be perpetrated upon a free America. And every public school teacher is an indoctrinated indoctrinaire.
Yep.
I want to start with the responsibility you have to yourself, Obama told students. Every single one of you has something that you're good at. Every single one of you has something to offer. And you have a responsibility to yourself to discover what that is. That's the opportunity an education can provide. And hundreds of thousands of white conservative right-wingers took their kids out of school because how dare the black man indoctrinate my kids? Think for themselves? Pursue what they're good at? No. The only thing they're good at is changing tires like their grandpappy did. Yeah, Republicans hate it. As a father of 4 children, I am absolutely appalled that tax dollars are being used to spread President Obama's socialist ideology. That was Jim Geer, the chairman of the Republican Party in Florida. Sean Hannity says it seems very close to indoctrination. Then Oklahoma State Senator Steve Russell, who now serves in the House of Representatives, Republican, of course, said Obama was seemingly promoting himself by telling kids to work hard in school. As far as I'm concerned, that was not a civics education. It gave the appearance that Obama was creating a cult of personality. Indeed. All right, let's get to our Jim Hightower break. We'll come back, go through the Connect, Unite, Act Daily Coast community calendar, and then kick it around with Angela Marx. You are listening to the After Show on Netroots Radio with Wink and Justice, and we will be right back.
Often, when world powers pick fights with seemingly powerless countries, they learn that even small dogs have sharp teeth, as President Trump is finding out in his ill-fated war with Mexico. His scheme to wall off Mexico is collapsing because most people here in the U.S. think it's stupid. Some 2/3 of the public say they just won't buy his $21 billion boondoggle. But Mexicans are the ones blunting Trump's other major attack on them, an attempt to slap a 20% border tax on products shipped into the U.S. Nobody knows more about trade than me, the Donald crowed during his presidential run. Narcissistic hyperbole aside, it turns out that Mexican farmers do know a lot more about corn than he does, and they know that a lot of U.S.-Mexico trade consists of corn. Until NAFTA, Mexico was a corn exporter, but such grain trading giants as Cargill wrote provisions into NAFTA to rig the rules to let them grab Mexico's corn market. This drove hundreds of thousands of Mexican producers out of business and made Mexico, where corn originated, dependent on imports from the U.S. But now, Mexicans are turning that imported corn into a political weapon against Trump's trade bluster. Rather than buy from the U.S., they're negotiating to import corn from Brazil. And even more significant, they're planning to invest in their own farmers to make Mexico self-sufficient again in this important crop. Their counteroffensive has caused apoplexy among congressional Republicans from the U.S. Corn Belt. About 75% of Iowa's corn, for example, goes to Mexico, and losing that market would devastate Iowa's economy. This is Jim Hightower saying, so the little dog bit Trump on the rump, and the big dog has now backed away from his border tax idea, having learned that even farmers know more about trade than he does.
If you'd like more of Jim Hightower's real populism, check out the Hightower Lowdown. Jim's monthly newsletter gives you the real lowdown on which corporations, by name, are doing what to the middle class, our environment, and our democracy. Each month, the Hightower Lowdown brings you facts you didn't know, along with actions you can take to fight back. It also comes with a sense of humor. Hightower believes we can fight the gods and still have fun. Plus, get this, it's cheap. Only $15 brings you 12 issues a year. For real populism, go to hightowerlowdown.org.
You are listening to netrootsradio.com.
Please hang up and try again.
From a point at sea to the circles of your mind, a new force is at work for planetary transformation. New radio for a new Earth.
Okay, we're back.
And indeed, we are back, and thank you for sticking with us. This is the After Show with Wink and Justice. Justice here along the banks of the Rogue River and the Rogue River Valley of Southern Oregon on the West Coast. Wink is in upstate New York, 21 on the East Coast. Angela Marx is pretty darn near the banks of the Columbia River up there in Washington State. And our crew are the ethereal creatures who reside in the cloud, whose advanced intergalactic technical abilities allow Netroots Radio, and thus by extension the After Show, to span the globe, the solar system, out past the Oort cloud, out past the bridge of stars, and way past all human reasoning, because we're beyond everything. Yeah. Okay, sure. Okay, today's Connect, Unite, Act Daily Coast community diary is once again facilitated by my friend, the great Jotter. He's a good guy. I like Jotter.
Yep.
He's quite technically adept.
Yes. Met him a couple of times. Yep.
Yeah. And He mentioned this one time, though I didn't. It may not have been exactly this particular type of behavioral determinant, but that his senses are a little bit different. Or what? It's Meteor Blades that doesn't really smell or taste.
Okay.
But Jotter has it's anaphasia. Is that what it's called? He talks about it as that. So I believe it is. Yeah, anaphasia. Aphantasia, where he does not see things in his mind's eye. Is that interesting? And so he has quite a comprehensive essay here about that. And but it doesn't stop him. You know how some people, like a surveyor, he gives a story of the surveyor who was able to, after he surveyed something, he would take inventory before he went to sleep and go through the different rooms, that kind of thing. Which I have to say, from the time I was a little kid, I used to do that in that nether region between falling asleep and still being awake. I learned later that that's actually a way to imprint and create memory. And so I would literally take an inventory of my day. I'd take an inventory of the week, the month, years, try to go as far back as I could. And then I just go to sleep.
There you go.
But I would see these events and, I'd see myself playing with my siblings, on the swing, for instance. And Jotter does not see those things. Interesting. Just go figure. All right. So Netroots Nation, of course, is August 10th through the 13th in Atlanta, and the Daily Coast Cheers and Jeers annual dinner will occur the Wednesday evening before at 5:30 p.m. at White Oak Kitchen and Cocktails, 270 Peachtree Street, and that's, of course, in Atlanta. Send Navajo a cosmail to reserve a seat at the table. And as I scroll down endlessly for all the people that are coming, table? Come on. Edit that thing. It's tables. All right. And the Daily Co's caucus group asked me anything about Daily Co's, which Navajo will be leading along with Will Rockefeller. Or Rockefeller. I like Rockefeller. That will be August 10th at 2:30 p.m. in the Piedmont Room. And there's all the usual suspects are there to answer your questions. And the Daily Co's Asheville Summer Summit Meetup, August 12th at Mount Mitchell State Park, located at 2388 State Highway 128, Burnsville, North Carolina. Send Randolph a cosmail to attend that. Boy, and they've got quite a few there. And let's see, the Data and Democracy 2018 conference on September 23rd, 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the PSI Theater at the Durham Arts Council, 120 Morris Street in Durham, North Carolina. Cosmail Doc Dog, he is the organizer for that. And to get more information, let's see, the $35 registration fee will be waived for lower income activists on request. Which that includes most of us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
I've been waiting for decades for that Soros check, and I don't know who to, redress my grievance.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn. Okay. And that is your Connect United Daily Coast community calendar for the 26th of July of 2017. And, oh my gosh, Angela, thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
That George Soros thing, that never fails to astonish me. It's like, do those crazy people on the right get little checks, all of them from the Koch brothers? No. Just the rich guys get those checks. Us plebes on the left, we're not getting no checks from George.
No.
No, and when the accusations that there were like paid protesters, for any number of things, the Women's March after the inauguration, for instance, right?
Those Republicans claim that we're getting paid on the left for all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's projection.
Well, yes, and the deal is that we don't ever pay anybody because we're poor. On the other hand, the right, they pay people for all kinds of stuff. They pay people to do that voter registration work, and they tell them if they get voter registration forms from people that fill it out as a Democrat to toss them in the trash, and they do. In Oregon, in the last decade, they've been caught at it like 3 times.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's I have always maintained that, if the right wing wants to push some sort of edict down our throats for whatever reason, the reason usually is that they're doing it. So,
Yeah.
no, the whole idea of the paid protesters, and then of course when Trump first started off, he had to pay actors to come into Trump Tower so he could come down the escalator.
Pretend to like him, yeah.
It's insane. I mean, and the reason we know this is because, he had to go to the union shops to get these extras down there. So
the reason we probably know about it is he probably stiffed some of them and it made it to do.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, let's try to make heads and tails of this motion to proceed. Now, I got to tell you, the San Francisco Chronicle says that Trump Care has been stopped. And I think that's overstating it a bit, because the motion to proceed just means that now they can have a debate, and they still don't know what they're debating on. What would stop the Republicans, because they've done this before. They've attached writers to bills that have nothing to do with the bill. What would stop them from giving plenary dictatorial powers to Trump and then have the Senate vote on it, and they don't know what they're voting on? I mean, I know I'm...
Well, the Constitution will stop them from giving him dictatorial plenipotentiary powers, right, for one thing. They, even if they managed to pass something which said, whatever Mr. Trump says is good for us, some brave soul like the ACLU would bring a suit, and they would get to the Supreme Court right quick, and they would have to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Trump, we love you, but we no.
Well,
right?
Just recently, Ryan stripped Barbara Lee's, AUMF repeal in the dead of night. Didn't tell anybody.
Right. Well, but that's a legislative process, and that is because he's Speaker. In the House, the Speaker has some powers that other members of the House do not. Likewise, in the Senate, the Majority Leader has powers that other members of the Senate do not. And because the Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, I think, says that each House makes its own rules, they can make any rule they want, and that's how it is, right? And the Supreme Court can't even do anything about those rules because the Constitution says they can make any rules they want about their own House. But the crazy that's going on and the Chronicle thinking that it's over, I have news for them. These guys flim-flammed their base for 8 entire years saying, we will repeal that. You get us all the power we need, and we will take care of getting rid of this evil job killer, granny killing bill, and we're going to take care of it. And now, and they did. The last 3 years of Obama's term, they actually passed in both houses a bill to overturn the law, but Obama was there to veto their bill, of course, and they knew that. Now they're hamstrung because now they have both houses and the White House, and they still can't pass that bill. Okay, so here they are. They're on the precipice now, and they're between a rock and a hard place because they can't get the votes to pass this bill because there are members of their body that know if they vote yes and pass that, when they go home, there's going to be a slaughter like no other in modern times in the legislative process in 2018. Republicans they're probably going to get turfed out anyway because of what's gone on already. But if they manage to actually pass that bill, oh my God, hellfire will rain down on them, and they know it. So they can't pass it, and they can't not pass it because if they don't pass it, they're going to get turned out of office. Donald Trump has brought us what a couple generations of Democrats have not been able to do, which is give the modern Republican Party, I think, a terminal wound.
Yeah, it's pretty
I don't
close
know how
anyway.
they would pass this
I
thing.
agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, maybe this is extreme. I do hear, not that I'm a big fan of Bloody Bill Kristol, But, when people of that stature in the conservative movement say that the Republican Party is dead, are we going to have a Whig Party?
Anna Navarro, for the last 8 years, was one of the strongest voices for the conservatives in America, haranguing the Democrats over all kinds of things. Do you see her on Twitter these days? Yeah. She's calling Donald Trump all kinds of craziness, and he's ruining the country, and that the Republican Party isn't doing what it's... When their own people that have been leaders in their party for years now are turning against the party, you know that there is trouble in River City. They are swamp rats, and they're afraid to poke their heads out of their holes lately. They are literally running away from reporters all over the Capitol.
Yeah. They don't like Trump any more than Democrats.
Can we speculate a little bit though on because maybe we hear about issues of the deep state or the secret government. So I can see a bigger play at hand here, and that is there a schism between, say, like the Mercers and the Kochs? Is that what we're seeing being played out here? The Mercers obviously on the side of Trump. Of course they started off being on Cruz's side, and then the Koch brothers, who seem to have really their own particular agenda. Is that what we're seeing playing out here?
The wealthy people all have one agenda. Let us keep more of our money.
Right.
That's their only agenda. If you look at the last 60 years of wealthy people and legislation for wealthy people, their only agenda is, let me keep more of my money. You don't have to look any further than that. But for the health care bill, I'm telling you right now, they will keep bringing that zombie bill back.
Yeah.
It'll just keep coming back. They don't have any choice. They have to keep trying to pass it no matter what. I don't know when the moment's going to come where they give up. It may be if Donald Trump actually fires Jeff Sessions. Because I tell you what, if he does that, the next thing he's going to do is he's going to fire Bob Mueller. And he's going to try to fire him directly himself. He's not going to try to put another AG in to fire him. Everybody thinks that he's after Sessions so he can do that Mueller deal, and I don't think so. I think he's after Sessions because Sessions did exactly what he's saying. He took the job and turned around and recused himself, and the reason that Trump wanted him in that job was so he would have someone in the Department of Justice to turn to.
Yeah, but my understanding is that
when this stuff started getting bad.
My understanding is by statute. It's not Sessions' decision, other than the fact that he could have said, well, I can't be your AG because I had contacts with these Russians. I suppose that's, but he had contacts with those Russians at Trump's behest.
Right. It's because Donald Trump does not understand laws or the government or the Constitution. He doesn't read them. He doesn't care about them. All he cares about is what he wants. He's 70 years old. He spent his entire adult life just doing whatever he wants and getting whatever he wants because he had enough money to do it, right? And there's not a lot of people in this country who grew up that way, who remained as ignorant as this man has remained at the age of 70.
Yeah.
That's just the bald truth of it. Everybody's giving him, trying to give reasons to what this guy's doing when it's obvious, to me at least, that he's only doing what he does because he wants to get what he wants when he wants it. He wanted a guy in the Department of Justice to turn to when the time came. That's why he picked Jeff Sessions, because Jeff Sessions was the first senator to endorse him, right? Here's my guy. I'll put him in when I need somebody to squash some of this stuff. He has been saying in public, he got rid of Robert Comey because he wanted to get rid of this investigation. Every time he talks in public, it's about how he wants to get rid of the investigation. If this was an actual real-world scenario where Donald Trump was just a guy in business, and let's say Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General of New York, was chasing him because he knew there was some nefarious business going on, and the guy kept saying things in public like Donald Trump is saying, it would be clear and present to everyone that what Donald Trump was doing was trying to avoid being prosecuted and convicted of a crime.
Well, of course,
just because he's president doesn't make him any different.
Of course, that's obvious, but we also, in another time and place, there was the loyal opposition who said, yeah, this is beyond the pale, and this president, even though he's part of my part, yeah, they're gone. I mean, yep. And that's why it's so jarring to hear a Bill Kristol or an Ana Navarro say that the Republican Party is dead because of their abject greed. And I'm all, well, weren't you all part of that? I mean, come on.
Well, what concerns me is that the greed of these people on the right, their overall view of the world and people in general, right, may be what does in our republic. You watch the news today, and serious news people are talking about how these things are not normal and all of this craziness is going on, and it's not like how things go. Isn't that a sign to people that our society is crumbling before our very eyes? I mean,
the MSM helped it along. They didn't do anything to make this clear that this is not normal.
Well,
in the last 20 years, at least,
It depends on what you mean by the mainstream media, but.
Yeah, it's been craziness has been going on for a while, but the last couple of years, the way that the racism that had been stuffed under rocks for a couple of decades came crawling out when some of us dared to elect a guy that wasn't completely white to the White House for the first time. That astounded a lot of people, right? Yep. They went, where did that come from? Well, hello, look around. It's always been there. It was just kind of hiding from you people.
Yep.
It's just like the Black Lives Matter movement. All of the black people being killed by police officers across the country for, daring to be black and walking around and breathing in this country, basically. There's no argument to be made that all of these killings by police officers against unarmed people that aren't doing anything wrong can just be accidental. Mm-hmm. And that a single decision by the Supreme Court in 1986 says that police officers can take your life because they're afraid that you're going to take theirs first.
Right.
How is that possible in this country?
An Australian woman in her pajamas who calls up the cops for an assault is killed because one of the cops feared they were going to be ambushed. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the defense. That's the defense for killing a civilian who called the cops because of somebody else being assaulted.
All of these things are signs and portents to people that are paying attention that there is a drastic problem in our nation. And it's not just one thing. It's a cacophony. What is that word? You know what I'm talking about?
Cacophony.
Yes, that word. Of a multitude of different things that are. I think people should seriously be afraid that the nation is in danger of dissolving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, countries don't exist forever just because, right? They exist because of reasons, ties that bind them, right? We're the United States, and we have lots of ties that bind all of our 50 states and territories together. But as time has gone on, it should be becoming more and more clear to people that we are becoming the untied states of America. Look at all the divisions on the left-right spectrum, and then the divisions in the wealth to poor. I mean, there are a million ways that the people of the United States of America are becoming disentangled from each other and don't like each other, don't think the same way, don't want the same things. The only problem is, like most nations, we can't just fall apart and split up because the way that we're divided is the low population, rural areas versus the heavily populated urban areas. And you can't just take all the big cities out of a state and say, we're going to be a state by ourselves and the rest of you can go hang.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. My mother kept telling me we're going to have a second American Revolution most of her adult life, and I always laughed at her, but I'm starting to take her seriously now that she's dead. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a young guy when I first moved here to Southern Oregon from the Bay Area to care for my mom, who spoke obliquely about a civil war. And I just kind of laughed at him. This is before Trump got elected. I just kind of laughed a little bit. And, because it just seemed, well, that's kind of hyperbole. And now, I don't know. I mean, I live in an area where there's some people who have some serious issues, and they're buying the Sinclair Broadcasting propaganda, the Rush Limbaugh propaganda, and they fear that we liberals, Democrats, are more of a threat to their way of life than, say, the Russians.
Oh yeah, yep.
We are a threat to their way of life. Their way of life is that white men run everything, and everybody else shuts up and sits down and does what they're told. And, there are plenty of people in rural areas who are conservative who would say that that's baloney, that they're not like that. But they are like that. I have plenty of relatives like that.
I know.
I know plenty of people who are conservative Republicans, and every single one of them is just like that. They are authoritarian. They like rules. They don't like rule breakers. They like things to stay the same. That is, at heart, the basic impetus of what it is to be a person who's a conservative. And there are studies that show that that's sort of hardwired into our brains, being open and liberal-minded, open to new ideas, willing to seek out new challenges. That is a very different kind of a person. That's a hardwired brain versus a brain that is fearful of lots of things, doesn't like anything to change, and they don't like things to change because change can be crazy, scary, fearful. I don't know that there's any cure for that because it seems to be part of who we are from birth. Now, you can change a lot of things. Nurture can do a lot versus nature, but so I don't think that can be overcome. Not really. At least not in a country where we still have people 165 years after the fact running around with the flag in their truck celebrating the people who used to want to keep black people slaves.
I don't know. If I was Pope Philosopher King, I'd take all those people and let them have their own little community and stuff, and they can have cage match fights to determine whether they're going to fill the potholes or not. Because that's the way they like it.
That used to be my cure for all of the crazy prisons we're building in our country with all the scary people, the really maximum security guys. I wanted us to pick an island that's, at least 50 miles off the coast and have ships around it so nobody can build a raft and get off and just drop them on there with, a knife and some coconuts and let them have at it.
Yeah. Let them live the world that they prefer.
Yeah. Like Max
and the rest of us can be beneficial to each other.
Yeah. Right. Simplistic answers, but the world is just full of so much craziness. I think it's a miracle sometimes that most of the human race hasn't gone clinically insane and just burnt the whole place down. We live in such... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, something that just came up here, maybe you're aware of it or not. It's just an edict issued from on high by the guy in the Oval Office. He's getting rid of all LGBT people from the military. Now, let me ask you a little thing about process. First, it's a tweet, right? Second of all, doesn't this fall under appropriations ultimately? In the military,
no,
is this complete? Can he just say? I know that Eisenhower and Truman both pushed the troops to be integrated, and that was from a presidential order.
Executive order, exactly. He's commander-in-chief. He's commander-in-chief. The Constitution says he's commander-in-chief of the military. He can issue any order, any lawful order he wants. Now, if someone finds that order unlawful and tries to make a court case out of it, that's one thing. The Supreme Court might, I don't really think the John Roberts Court would, but a Supreme Court might hold that a presidential executive order was unconstitutional based on maybe the 14th Amendment. Possibly.
Yeah.
However, the right to serve in the military is not a constitutional right that's enumerated, right? You serve in the military because you want to. That's a choice. It's not a right. I think it's, of course, a heinous step, but just like when most of the country did not like when Truman said we were going to desegregate the military, today people are going to like that he's, there's a crowd of people in this country who think that people who are LGBTQ are, evil and horrific people and don't belong in the military because they'd be bad for our military. I don't know how. They're never really sure how they would be bad for the military, just that it's bad to have them there because, women can't be they don't like women in the military either because it doesn't fit their worldview.
Maybe they'd be more susceptible to be compromised by the Russians. I guess we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Isn't that the strangest thing in life? I mean, we all grew up watching the Republicans pounding that the commies are evil, and now we've got a president whose BFF is Vladimir Putin, the dictator of Russia.
Gay people couldn't be in, unless they were highly closeted, like in intelligence, because they could be compromised and blackmail. People who smoked pot, couldn't work in the Signal Corps, deciphering coded messages because, they could be compromised by the Russians. I mean, that was, right. and now it's like, I guess it's okay to be compromised by the Russians. In fact, you can put it on your resume and get moved up the food chain now.
What's really astonishing is how quickly that happened. I mean, in the last, since the Cold War happened, starting in the late 40s, the 50s or whatever, Russia has been our number one, arch enemy basically when it comes to the world. And it only took just Donald Trump, talking about how Vladimir Putin was such a great guy, to turn the entire Republican Party into Russian-loving people. What the heck? Yep. Who knew?
Well, Angie, we've reached the end of our broadcast period for today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll pick this up next week, and hopefully we still have a Obamacare. So
yes.
Oh, I'm sure we will. They'll just keep trying to get rid of it. It's a never-ending show.
All right, thanks so much. Well, folks, we better bug out of here. Just a reminder, Jibber Your Jabber tonight with Wink, 9 p.m. on the West Coast, midnight on the East Coast. A 2-hour opportunity for live call-in radio. We'll listen to DeFa's Cut the Jazz in the interim before Hartman coming up. Stay tuned to Networks Radio 24/7, 365. And why? Well, because who loves you, baby? Oh, and one other thing, Wink, I will see you on the other side.
All right, we're out.